Little Miss Drop Stitch, and in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to cable 4th back or cable 4 front. In your abbreviations it might look like c4b for cable 4 back or c4f for cable 4 front. This is an example of a tank top that I made, okay? It's in British wool as well, it's absolutely beautiful and warm as well. So we've got a cable 4 front and cable 4 back. So you might use it in examples like this, or I will put on the screen now. This is a square actually from a blanket that I'm due to release very soon, and this might be why I've been doing the tutorials. This is a honeycomb kind of pattern, and that uses the technique as well, but in a slightly different way. What you'll also need for today, as well as your yarn and needles, is a cable needle. You can just use a very short double pointed needle. Okay, the main thing is you need to be able to slip from both ends. There's some like this that have a kink in it that just stops the chances of your stitches coming off. Okay, and I do prefer those. Also make sure that your cable needle come in different thicknesses like our knitting needles do. Okay, so make sure it's not thicker than your knitting needle size, because otherwise it will stretch the stitches. All I've done here is cast on my stitches, and I am just going to show you how to do the cable bit. Okay, so some in your instructions will tell you it might have purl stitches either side, and this helps the cable to pop out. Usually, if you're making it up as you go along, I'd advise putting 2 purl stitches either side. Other ones like the honeycomb, which I'll ding again on the screen now, that doesn't actually use any purl stitches, and that's kind of a clever way of using the cable 4 front and cable 4 back. So I'll just show you how to do it. The main takeaway is we're casting on and we're not cabling, okay, with the cable needle. We're not doing any stitch twisting to start with, okay? So this would always be in stocking stitch as well, unless they're quite complex, but that's not a today job. So all I'm going to do is 2 rows of stocking stitch. I will tell you as well how we can kind of manipulate the cables to look looser or tighter. So now do your purl row and join me back when you've got 2 rows of stocking stitch. Brilliant, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 stitches on my needle, so I'm going to kind of knit 2, have the cable in the middle 4, and then knit 2 again. Now up to our point of cabling. Okay, this is going to be a cable 4 back, and then I will show you the cable 4 front in a moment. All you need to do, the next 2 stitches, get them, slip them onto your cable needle. And you can see now how that, if you've got one with a kink in it, that helps them from coming off. Then knit the next 2. And your cabling is done on the correct side of the work as well. This might seem a bit fiddly to start with. Then we're getting these 2 stitches off the cable needle that we held at the back of the work, and knitting from the cable needle to that. You can, if you wanted, put them from the cable needle onto this one and knit from it. That's perfectly fine. Maybe we'll do that in a moment. And then I'm just knitting to the end. So we've started with a twist. We don't want to twist on the next row because it's just going to be too tight and it's not going to show off the cable. So I'm going to purl the next row. Then I'm also going to stocking stitch the next 2 rows, and by that I mean knit the next row and then purl the row after that. As kind of a general rule of thumb to start with, however many we're cabling by, so this is a cable 4, then I would have that as a sequence. So we've got a cable row and then 3 rows of stocking stitch, and we're back to the correct side of the work. And I'll talk to you in a moment how we can play around with that. So for example as well, if we had a cable 6 back, then I would have it as a 6 row sequence after these kind of first few rows. By that I mean a cable row and then 5 rows of stocking stitch, and that's kind of a nice balanced stitch. Hurrah, we can now do some more cabling. So again, knit up to the point I want to cable, and these are going to be cable 4 back. So even though it's a 4, it means 4 stitches in total. So the next 2, slip them onto your cable needle, and if you slip them the way I did, they'll kind of be in the right position to put back. So there we go, slipping them purlwise. I've got a video on that as well. And then knit the next 2. And then, like we discussed before, if you're finding it a bit too fiddly, you can put these, oh gosh, I'm finding it fiddly here. You can put these back on your knitting needle. Okay, so we can put that to the side and then knit them if that's easier for you. Fantastic, so we've got our cable forming here. Okay, it's not quite as nice in the garish green. I will now just do stocking stitch for another 3 rows and I will show you how to cable 4 forward. I'm up to the point now where I can cable 4 forward. The main points to remember is you're never twisting on every row, so you do need that bit of depth in between and just that plain stocking stitch. You will always be doing your cabling on the right side of the work. If you wanted to play around with the cable size, so this is called a coiled cable, and that's we've got it's nice and twisty. Okay, if you wanted to make them kind of looser, then you could, let's say, every 6 or every 8 rows have your cable pattern. So that's just something to bear in mind if you wanted to play around with it. I know on a sleeve of a jumper I made it was just a bit tight because it was such chunky yarn, so I did that with more rows in between. Okay, as always, knit up to the point or purl if it's something like this tank top, up to where we want to cable. Then cable 4 front, so we're still involved in the next 4 stitches, slipping purlwise. It's not a great crime if you slip the wrong way, it just means it's a bit of extra work to twist them the other way. And we're keeping it at the front of our work. Knit the next 2. Knit off your cable needle. And knit the next 2. And then what you would do is purl the next one and stocking stitch the next 2 as well. And what that does is turns your cable the other way around, so it's nice kind of on this tank top here. So it's nice and harmonious and there's some symmetry to the work as well. Can you see actually I made a mistake there? So there what I've done, instead of keep twisting it forward, I've actually on that one held it at the back and been a bit absent-minded, and that's why it's a bit different. So that's something important to note as well. But life's for living, so I'm not going to redo it. Well, thank you ever so much for watching this video, and do give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff so I can continue to make more. Thank you.